The Netflix Open Connect server is still logging your viewing right now, and the FTC can't stop it. Somewhere between your router and the internet, there's a machine with your name on nothing. No public address, no listed owner. It sits inside your own internet provider's building, wearing your ISP's badge, moving like it belongs there. It doesn't. It's Netflix. And nobody outside the company can point to exactly where it is. Officially, it's called an Open Connect Appliance. Netflix built thousands of them and shipped them physically into the data centers of internet providers all over the world: Comcast, AT&T, Vodafone, hundreds more. The stated purpose sounds boring on paper: cache popular shows locally so streaming loads faster and cheaper. That part is true. What Netflix doesn't put on a press release is what else those boxes quietly do while they sit there. They watch. Every request that hits them, what you clicked, when you paused, when you rewound the same 6 seconds 3 times, logs, timestamped, tagged to a device, sent home. Here's the part that should bother you. That box isn't in a Netflix building. It's inside your ISP's private network, behind their firewall, under their roof. Ask your internet provider where Netflix's servers are and most of them will shrug. They don't inventory it themselves, they just lease the rack space. Ask Netflix and you get a map of regions, never street addresses. Ask a regulator to audit the server that recorded your viewing habits last Tuesday, and there is no single server to point to. There are thousands inside private buildings owned by other companies, replicated, rotated, and functionally invisible to outside oversight. That's not an accident. That's the architecture. The FTC noticed. In 2023, it opened inquiries into how streaming platforms handle viewing data under the Video Privacy Protection Act, a law written in 1988 after a reporter got a Supreme Court nominee's video rental history published. The law says your viewing history is protected like medical records. Netflix says Open Connect data is operational, not personal, because the appliance logs are framed as network performance metrics, not viewer profiles. The FTC pushed back. Netflix didn't shut anything down. It reclassified. And here's the part nobody reported. The regulator already knew this loophole existed before it opened the inquiry. A prior FTC staff memo, cited in a 2022 privacy filing, flagged that edge caching infrastructure sits in a legal gray zone, not clearly a videotape service provider record, not clearly exempt either. The agency knew the seam existed for 2 years before it acted. And when it finally did act, Netflix's answer wasn't to stop collecting. It was to argue the appliance's ownership status, hosted on someone else's property, under someone else's network agreement, put it outside the FTC's normal subpoena reach for that provider's records. The server the FTC wants to inspect is, legally, a guest in another company's house. So the mechanism holding this together isn't hidden code. It's jurisdiction. A federal regulator can compel a company to produce its own records. It has a much harder time compelling a third party, your ISP, to hand over logs generated by hardware it doesn't own, tracking behavior it didn't ask to monitor, sitting on a rack it merely provides power to. 3 parties, 3 sets of lawyers, and the record you'd need to prove exactly what got logged about you sits in the gap between all of them. Nobody denies the data exists. Nobody agrees who's responsible for producing it, and it's still running. Right now, tonight, when you press play, that handshake happens again. Your device pings the nearest Open Connect appliance. It authenticates you. It logs the request. That log doesn't vanish when the show ends. Retention policies for operational telemetry aren't the same as the 72-hour deletion windows Netflix advertises for some account data. Nobody outside Netflix has confirmed how long these specific logs live, because nobody outside Netflix has successfully audited the box itself. Not a regulator. Not most of the ISPs hosting it. So who benefits from a server nobody can locate? Not you. You can't request your own appliance logs the way you can request an account data export, because Netflix says that's not what those logs are. Not your ISP. They just rent the rack space and stay quiet. The only party that benefits from a surveillance record with no fixed address and no clear legal owner is the one company that built it that way on purpose. It's still logging, right now. So where exactly is your data sitting tonight, and whose building is it in?